Good morning everybody and welcome to Jim's 5 a.m. Club. And today I come to you from a very special and beautiful location up here at Nelson Bay. I come to you from the Inner Lighthouse, a very lovely location, and let me just show you the view. The Inner Lighthouse has spectacular views through to the entry to Port Stephens. As you can see there, we've got Mount Tomaree and Yakabar standing guard to the entry to this magnificent waterway. In terms of size, Port Stephens is maybe twice or three times the size of Sydney Harbour, and at one point they were considering having Port Stephens as the settlement for Sydney, as opposed to where it currently is. So magnificent waterways and a great place in the world. Reminds me of Greece in many ways in terms of the calm waters and the beautiful serene environment that we have up here. So what I want to do today is take you through and talk to you about an aspect of Greek philosophy. I think it's safe to say that Greeks have never agreed on anything. You get two Greeks in a room and they will have diverse opinions about most topics. In fact, mostly we are diametrically opposed to what we say and what each other has an opinion on. One of the Greek philosophers that I want to talk about today is Diogenes, as pronounced in English, and he was from the school of philosophy known as the Cynics. For those who are not aware of ancient Greek philosophy, there are many different schools, and the schools evolved from the various philosophers, and the philosophers had students who would take that field of philosophy and expand on it, and basically see the world through a different lens, depending on what aspect or what spectrum they were focused on. Diogenes was taken into slavery and spent most of his life in Corinth, a place in Greece where my parents both originate from, a place where the Corinthian Canal is. It's also mentioned in the New Testament, where Saint Paul Aios Pavlos wrote two of his epistles to the Corinthians, not one, but two. He required to write to them twice in order to get them to wake up to themselves. But Diogenes was quite unique and a very brave man. There are a few accounts that I want to talk about. One of the accounts was that he would walk constantly with a lantern, carrying a lantern both day and night, and he was looking for an honest man. Such was his cynicism that he spent his whole lifetime looking for an honest man, which is quite interesting, especially in today's society where honesty and integrity are always questionable, especially amongst politicians and people in power. But some commentators say the reason why he was on this quest for finding an honest man was that his father was accused of embezzling the mint at wherever he worked, and Diogenes basically said, well, if you say that my father is dishonest, then show me an honest man in today's society. So he was using that as a way to compare and contrast, and to mirror to people what society had turned into. Other commentators also say that Diogenes may have been a forerunner to Jesus Christ, who was the only real, true, sinless person in the world. Something to consider and to contemplate, but a very, very interesting look on life. The other aspects or stories of Diogenes are quite funny. They say that he was sitting there sunning himself one day, enjoying the sunlight, enjoying the sun, the warmth of the sun, and Alexander the Great approached him, because Alexander the Great had heard of the great Diogenes and wanted to meet him and to learn from him. And when Alexander the Great approached Diogenes, he cast a shadow on Diogenes because he'd blocked out the sun, to which Diogenes said to Alexander, "Move out of the sun, get out of my sunlight." To which Alexander was quite shocked that nobody, of course, had ever spoken to him like that, or had the courage to tell the great Alexander to move out of the sun and to unblock the sun. So that's one of the funny accounts. The other funny account that I recall and I've read is that Alexander said to Diogenes after his bold comment, he says, "Diogenes, if I wasn't Alexander, I would want to be Diogenes." To which Diogenes replies in a very, very witty way, "And Alexander, I too, if I was not Diogenes, I too would want to be Diogenes." How funny and bold is that? And the last account that I'll leave you with was another time when Alexander the Great approached Diogenes and found Diogenes looking through bones of people who had passed away. The ancient Greeks buried people, but also once they buried them, they exhumed them and kept their bones in special places. I forget the name of the place, but there is a special place where human bones are kept, and you'll see it in monasteries. They have skulls, they have bones of the deceased, and they care for those bones as part of a cultural sort of element. And Alexander, puzzled at Diogenes looking through bones, said to him, "Diogenes, what are you doing?" To which Diogenes replies, "I am looking for your father's bones, but I can't tell the difference between the king's bones and the slave's bones." A very profound comment that regardless of who you are, we all die the same, and there is no difference in title between a person who was a king and a person who was a slave. So there are many more quotes from Diogenes, but he was a very strange character, a unique philosopher who had a unique philosophy. Once again, they say that he fathered the school of cynicism, the Cynics. But as I mentioned before, there are many, many schools of philosophy that the Greeks are associated with or known for. And what I encourage young people to do is to study the artwork called the School of Athens. I forget who put that artwork together. I should have done my research. But was it Michelangelo? Was it Raphael? I forget. But I'll leave it up to you to find out and to let me know. But in that artwork there are 30 or 40 characters, all of which have contributed to the knowledge base and the philosophical thought of ancient Greece. They are all quite famous, and what I'll do in this Jim's 5am club is I'll go through all the different schools of philosophy, all the main philosophers, and just like today, relay little stories and little anecdotes of who they were, what their school of philosophy was, and what their contribution was to the world as we know it today. As my Uncle George would always say, and it's a very, very beautiful point, is that the Greeks gave the world more than the world could ever hope to repay. Just think about that. And it's not an exaggeration. The Greeks, as a race, as a culture, did give through their heart much, much knowledge to the world, and they gave it freely. They didn't give it with any restrictions, and as Greeks, we are not in any way positioned to say that the world cannot use those philosophies, but to appreciate it as best you can. Anyway, that's enough from me from today. I'll leave you with the affirmation that we are alive, we're well, and we feel great. Coming to you from Nelson Bay, the inner lighthouse, on this beautiful, beautiful sunrise, this beautiful day. I'm wishing you a great day, an awesome week, and may we all stay healthy, stay active, and stay connected, because that's the key. Take care, and bye for now. Yasas.